Welcome to Pastoring on Purpose, the official podcast of the Center for Ministerial Care. Coming to you live from the floor of the 2026 Church of God International General Assembly in beautiful Orlando, Florida.
Welcome to another episode of Pastoring on Purpose, and we are here once again in Orlando, Florida. And Jeff, this is your first General Assembly as an ordained bishop. How's it feel?
Surreal, yes. I'm a son of a minister who's pastored and been an administrator for years, my father, and to be a part of that fraternity this morning was quite special and surreal, and I'm still trying to process it, but it is a wonderful honor, and God has amazing plans for our lives, and as He reveals them, they can be quite remarkable and breathtaking, and this is one of those moments, so thank you for asking about that. And by the way, I want to say also here at the General Assembly, I'm quite impressed with our producer here who yesterday we recorded four podcasts. He's turned them around and I've already seen them posted and they're ready for our people to listen. So
impressive.
Thank you, listeners, but thank you, Ryan, for turning that around quickly. Appreciate it greatly.
Ryan has a tough job of making us sound good.
Yes.
So,
you should hear us. You should hear us in person. Yes.
It can be rather comical, and so. But thanks, Ryan, for making us sound as well as we do. Today we have with us Dr. Mark Taylor. He's the lead pastor of Thrive Church in Visalia. Did I get that right?
You did.
All right.
That's right.
Good job. Good job, me. Licensed professional clinical counselor and ministerial care director for the California Nevada Church of God. Mark has dedicated much of his ministry to helping pastors and ministry families navigate trauma, burnout, and emotional health while remaining faithful to God's calling. Dr. Taylor, thanks for being with us, man.
Oh, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, let's just go ahead and just dive right in, okay? Tell us about your journey into both pastoral ministry as well as clinical counseling.
Oh, wow. I was 13 when I felt a call in my life, and incidentally, I had Dr. Lamar Best that actually came to pray for me when I was feeling that call, and it's in some things that I write about, and I ended up feeling that call, and at about 15 I started preaching, and then by the time I was 18 years old, and I would not recommend this for anybody, but at 18 I was a full-time youth pastor and working and doing some things, and then by the time I was out of college, I had gone through some hard times and things with my own life, and had some problems with just depression and anxiety and different things. And because of that, I was ready to give up a lot. But what happened for me was I ended up melding two things together, which was what you just kind of read about, was the fact that I was in pastoral ministry kind of hurting, and then I started working on my degree for counseling, and it was later in life. And once I got my counseling degree, I started melding the two together. Actually, God melded them together, really, and then put me into the ministerial care scene, and that's where I've been.
Was there like a defining moment when you realized pastors needed more intentional, emotional, and mental health support? Was there like a defining moment that you had in your life?
I think there was a defining moment in my life that I realized I needed that. And then I started to work on a lot of the things with Dr. McMahon, as many people will know his name, Dr. Oliver McMahon.
Phenomenal. Yeah.
And he was a mentor of mine for a lot of years. And some of what we were talking about, he obviously led me through a lot of what I went through and talked me through things. I started to figure out probably in about 2015, 16, I was going through some really hard times medically, had some medical things going on. And I started to realize that what I had just come out of emotionally, in some instances in my life, and what I was going through professionally kind of taught me, these go together. These go together. And there's a defining moment for me when I realized that I'm not the only pastor that's struggling.
Sure.
Many pastors struggle, and there's a stigma, and they have a hard time coming forward. And so I've worked with Dr. Bob Proctor, who's been on...
Had him on the podcast.
Yeah, he's awesome, and retired now, but he mentored me into this role. I was working with him and came up after him into the ministerial care director role. And so when that happened, I learned a lot about how many pastors, he was doing a lot trying to, as you talk with him, he was doing a lot to get the stigma kind of reversed in people's minds. And what we ended up doing was really just getting out. I have a team now of 10 people on the ministerial care team for California, Nevada, and we have an assessment form that we have them fill out. We just, whatever Dr. Proctor did and opened the door for, we kind of ran through the door and did as much as we could to build that up. And we're starting to see some results. People are starting to come forward. So that was part of my defining moment when I started to see that those same people that I was thinking were mentors are going through the same thing I'm going through. So it must be real for everybody.
You have a team of 10 people. What's that team kind of consist of? Is it counselors? Is it pastors? Kind of give us an idea of what that looks like.
We have 5. I'll have to do this in my head, but we have like 5, counting myself, we have 5 licensed clinical counselors, LMFT or licensed marriage family, and possible or soon to be LCSW, which is a licensed clinical social worker. We also have pastors who take care of soul care and discipleship and help people. We have a grief counselor. She's certified in grief counseling and going through a lot of different things. She was a product of ministerial care.
Okay.
And now she's on the team and she's doing so much things. So we just have different walks of life, but different things. We actually have one that's a trauma specialist that's on there too.
Wow, that's a robust team you've got there. That's good. That's good. You've got many of the disciplines that you need and those approaches when helping one another. So that's great. I mean, is that because of the great need in that area, or?
Well, because I love teams.
Okay, all right.
I love teams, and I talk with the Bishop Pat Wright, and Bishop Sean O'Neill is the one that installed me in that role.
Okay.
And then Bishop Pat Wright has given me a little bit just a lot more freedom than I think than I thought I would have. And so I was just kind of taking all these assessments from people, doing all these things, and then I realized, I need a team, so it's not just me. And so the need is there, I think, but the people haven't realized they have the need.
Yes.
So we're just trying to build the infrastructure so when they realize it, they're there.
Well, I wanted you to highlight that, and I appreciate you doing that, because typically the most healthy way to go to approach a problem is a team approach, and to look at it as being not one-dimensional. Like you mentioned earlier, if you feel like there's a physical issue, we think, well, that's just a physical issue, or if you've got a mental issue, you think it's just mental. No, it's usually one's going to impact the other.
Absolutely.
And I think I applaud you for getting a team to address issues, and a team also working together, because these problems, I think some people who are not professional counselors think, well, it's this simple. I go to them, this guy or this woman has been trained, and they'll just look it up and we'll take care of it. And we know as professionals, no, they're very complex issues.
Absolutely.
And to have a team of people to approach these issues and to help our brothers and sisters is what we need.
It does seem like a very diverse team that you have there, and I love the infrastructure that you have, quite frankly, in California, Nevada. So what are some things that you're seeing the most of when it comes to pastors, pastoral families? What are you kind of seeing pop up the most?
Interesting enough, and obviously not to go into any detail at all, but just we've seen some restoration need. Restoration. I think that the body of Christ in general is at a place where they're starting to figure out, what holiness looks like, what that kind of feels like, and it's discipleship and formation. It's more formation involved, with what's going on, and a lot of people, especially pastors and ministers, they get to a place to where they realize, I messed up. I blew it. What do I do? And we're seeing that in there. Some of them we refer over to ministerial care at the international office, and some we're helping through our process. But I've noticed that. And then the other thing I've noticed is a lot of depression, a lot of depressed moment. I'll be honest, 10 years I've been doing well without depression. Had my depression about 2 weeks ago. And part of it was, I think, with what we go through. Day in, day out, we're working with people. Day in, day out, we're working with hearing people's problems and things. And what I realized, I think I told you, Dr. Manis, is I ended up going to my therapist because I was like, I don't have a supervisor anymore. I have a license, so I don't talk to anybody. And then I'm listening to all these people, and it's triggering me. And I'm like, man, why are these activating events causing me all these problems? It's because I'm not talking to anybody, and I'm listening to people talk, and I'm going, I'm really kind of upset with what you're saying right now, the countertransference things. So that's coming through a lot with our people, is that they're feeling this countertransference that they don't know what that is. And they're not having an outlet to talk about it. So a lot of people are reaching out to us to talk about it. They're just venting, really.
Which is important.
Yeah, absolutely.
You gotta get that out. And I have the utmost respect for you, Dr. Taylor. I have no problem referring people to you because I see your heart and I see the work that you have, and quite frankly, the work that you have with your ministers. And talking about depression, talking about burnout, what's probably one of the signs that ministers miss, the first signs that they might experience with burnout that you've noticed?
I always look at depression in the most simplistic way. Depression is sadness, anxiety is fear, those kinds of things at their base level. But what I think happens a lot of times is, for me, I will say that I actually feel a darkness. I actually feel a dark moment where it's kind of like a hand from the back. I know no one can see me, but the hand from the back pulling me backwards. Yeah. I think part of the problem is that people aren't self-aware. Yeah. And because they're not self-aware, they miss the signs like the red flags of, I'm really irritable. Mm-hmm. I'm really irritable with that person in my ministry. I'm really irritable with my family. I'm really irritable. Why is that? Well, it's probably because, if you're angry or irritable, we know that's a secondary emotion. Something's Absolutely. Underneath. So I see that kind of come up for people. I see it in camp meeting. I see it in General Assembly. You'll talk to somebody and you'll go, wow, something's going on.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I've gotten a therapist myself because, like you said, we deal with so many complex emotions and coming in for counseling, and it's important for each counselor out there, I think, to have their own counselor.
Absolutely.
But you think about what pastors go through today.
Oh, yeah.
I think it would be wise for each pastor to have their own counselor they can go to and just be open and honest with.
I agree completely.
What role should professional counseling play in the life of a healthy pastor, in your opinion?
As a pastor, which is where my last bout of depression came from for the most part, I found out that having a place to go and talk with my therapist, I realized that I need this on a monthly basis. I need this even 6 weeks out, but I need this because it's a pressure cooker. Yeah. And I think that pastors need to know that pressure is, well, sometimes, let's face it, the pressure and the weight you feel is oppression. Sometimes it's clearly, it's not always, but clearly a demonic oppression. Sometimes
it's heavy.
Spiritual warfare. It's heaviness, and I think that would be another, by the way, another red flag is that heaviness. But I think what I would say to pastors is you need to talk to somebody that you would want to just share your heart. Your heart isn't, I'm mad at so and so. I'm mad at this person. This person irritates me. But why? Why do they? Because you're hurting. Yeah. You may be hurting inside, and just talk about it.
It's hard for pastors to come to that realization sometimes, though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's because they're seen as the leader. They're the one that people go to, and they're supposed to have kind of all the answers, which is ridiculous to even think that way, quite frankly. No one has all the answers.
No.
I mean, honestly, the best thing that you can do for yourself or your family is realize, you know what, I need help.
Absolutely.
Are you starting to see more people come to the realization of that need in their life and ministry?
I absolutely. And I think part of it is, again, having a more robust team has made it easier because it's not just me up on a stage. In fact, to be honest with you, I let Bishop Pat do the announcement for ministerial care. We put up our booth. We did our thing. We had a booth at camp meeting. We were trying to be visible, but I've seen more people come up and talk about it, and they're openly talking about it at the booth, where before they wouldn't even call me. Now they're talking about it at a camp meeting. That's a good sign.
It's huge. Jeff, I can't help but think that this is a great model that they have created.
It is. In fact, I was sitting here thinking, if I'm a pastor listening to this, he might be thinking, how could we start something like this in our region or our area? So what if somebody were doing that? Let's say you're in another part of the country and there's nothing like this, especially within our denomination in their region. What would you recommend they do? Because typically the fear is, I don't trust secular counselors, but just calling somebody a Christian counselor doesn't make them effective either, right? So what would you recommend if they were looking at trying to create this type of program or counseling network in their region?
Someone actually asked me this yesterday, and I would say, he didn't pay me to say this, by the way, but Dr. Manis, I called Dr. Manis first, and I started talking with him. Even before, as I was being groomed to be in the role, I was calling Dr. Manis and getting to know him more. I had a Dr. McMahon, I had a Dr. Cheryl Johns, I had all these different people that were speaking in my life. What I've noticed is that if you call and talk with, like we have a Spirit Care, I forgot to mention that. Spirit Care is involved in our team.
Okay.
It's underneath us now. It's not just by itself, but it models what you guys do.
Yeah.
Well, we learned that because we model it after how the international office is doing it. And the team, what I would do is I would get with your bishop, and they can go to our website. We actually have the team members listed. and we have a little bit about how the assessment process goes. And it's if I can share it, it's canvcog.com, and you go ministerial care department.
Will you repeat that one more time?
Yeah, canvcog.com, and you go to ministerial care under the departments.
Thank you. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Real quickly, you wrote a book.
I did.
Which is phenomenal, by the way.
Thank you.
Beauty for the Ashes?
Beauty from the Ashes.
From the Ashes. Share a little bit about that book, and where can we get that?
You can get it on Amazon. I'm trying to work on how to get it out in other places. I actually use this with my clients quite a bit, to be honest with you, because I have a lot of Christians that come. Mm-hmm. I have some that aren't Christians that want to use the book. The book, it highlights a little bit of what happened in my life in the beginning of a really traumatized moment for me. And I just kind of went through and there's just a plug. Dr. Manis wrote something in the front.
I did.
You wrote the forward.
I did.
I appreciate it. But I kind of go through 12 chapters and just talk about from being traumatized all the way to being utilized and what those steps are. So it goes through like supersize, and it talks about CBT, DBT, ACT, all these different things, but it also talks about just ministerial care and ministers giving themselves over to the process of what we're in.
If you're an administrative bishop listening to this is a perfect book for your pastors. I really want to encourage you to pick this up at Amazon, but I really do want to encourage our listeners to get this book because it is absolutely phenomenal. It talks about things that, quite frankly, we just don't talk about, that we need to.
I appreciate it.
And I love how transparent you are, how you talk about that hurt, because people don't follow perfect leaders, they follow broken leaders. Thank you so much, Dr. Taylor, for being on with us. Love and respect everything you guys are doing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for the good work that you're doing. Thank you.
Absolutely. With Dr. Taylor, as well as myself and our producer, Ryan, and Jeff Sargent, this has been Pastoring on Purpose, and we will see you next time. Until then, God bless.